The Davis family, I think, is rich because of. Remember, he didn't come from money. Like, wasn't I don't remember what the fuck Al Davis did, but he wasn't.
He ended up owning a team. Yeah,
like he's the one family. Because remember, they always talk about them being broke, where they can barely make payroll.
He wasn't in business before. He was a coach.
Yeah, wasn't he in football? Like he was.
Yeah.
Their money is football, and that's why they've had. And now they're probably fine now because they're in fucking Vegas.
Oh no, Mark Davis. The fact that he could walk around with that goofy haircut. It's like, hey, Buster Brown, man, what the fuck?
Exactly.
Do you think he's like Bob Keeshan, Captain Kangaroo? Those are the only two people ever that wore that haircut. We're proud of it, right? I mean, Mark Davis, he is living the dream. This guy, he's got babes. He owns the Las Vegas Raiders. But he seems like, honestly, I saw a feature on him on 60 Minutes. And, maybe everybody looks and goes, holy shit, how did that fat fuck get so rich? I mean, everything seemed like somebody that would be interesting to talk to because on the surface of observing this guy, he seems like somebody that understands how fucking lucky he was
to
be in that position.
Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Very pleasant. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to a Degenerate Friday edition of the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest and the very handsome Mike Lubie Lubitz. I did catch a little piece of you in action yesterday at that rock and roll thing that you and Mike Mayo were doing. That looked pretty festive, Lubie. How'd that go?
It was a really good time. We had this, I forget his last name, Alex, who won a show after you heard, Hell's Kitchen. I'm sure that you've watched a lot more than I've watched.
Yeah.
He said, I didn't realize that show starts at 1,800 like people who mail in to try and be a part of it, whittling down to one person to win it. And he won it. He was a dude out of like Nashville, owned a restaurant for years. He's a musician, much like our friend Reno, and went on and did that show. And he says, look, all the things you hear, Gordon Ramsay's actually a really nice dude. That's the persona he has to put on there for the show. And he says that show's a pressure cooker, but it really makes you better because it makes you realize just how strong you are. He was so much fun. And Nikki Mohan was out there, and we had our friend Alex from Temple Street and his friend from the Indian establishment that was out there. And it was a wide array of Asian cuisine and a really good vibe. And unlike last year, it didn't rain. It was nice and cool. A packed house, and we had a really good time. And I can't wait for it tonight. And the rest of the weekend, they do really the events are now all sold out. And Phil and Kate are happy, and Visit Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival. Visit Lauderdale is happy, so it was a nice way to keep the week rolling and get into this weekend.
A lot of food for you yesterday because you were chowing down pretty good at Batch Southern Kitchen, and I would imagine the food was plentiful there. Hell's Kitchen is kind of G.I. Jane with a spatula, isn't it? That's somewhat universal, though, having eaten several times at the Gordon Ramsay establishment at Harrah's Casino, of course, Compton on the house. But and otherwise, it would be prohibitive because we almost always hit the $300 limit there. Well, you're $1 over.
Oh, God.
But imagine two people, 300. That's not my game anymore. Even the highest end restaurants here, two people, you're highest end, you're probably doing 3 sticks on some restaurants. But
yes.
I mean, wasn't it common? I mean, back when I was taking women out during my many single periods between marriages, like $1.50. That was already a big tab for two people. That was with like a bottle of wine at good places like the Cafe Max, Cafe Seville.
Yeah, look, we go to Seville, and Shirley and I don't know, we don't get a bottle, but we always drink, we get apps, we eat, and we don't spend much more.
You're better off buying a bottle, Lubie.
I don't know. We don't drink that much, but when we're with people, we buy a bottle. But we don't spend more. Yeah, I mean, these are nice places. The Catherine, you can go to nice places and still be Heritage, be around 100. To get to Casadena, like some of these places that are like flying stuff in.
So it's going to run you over 2 sticks, I think.
Yes, but they go out of their way to do like another level of elevation, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
Exactly. You should get what you pay for.
Yeah, you're not going there all the time. It's not exactly an occasion place, but they're okay with being an occasion place. Yeah, 300. Like that's like Hell's Kitchen is a place that people go. Like that's a lot. Like
Hell's Kitchen, I think, is very successful on the Las Vegas Strip. They put a giant Hell's Kitchen, and they have one in Miami, like you said, and apparently rave reviews for these restaurants, Lubie. Which, but the universal word was every time I ate at the Gordon Ramsay restaurant, of course, I would imagine everybody asked the servers, hey, well, what's does Ramsey ever show up here? What's he like? And he has several establishments that are all very popular of the same Gordon Ramsay steak in New Jersey. It's a very popular spot in New Jersey, in spite of the fact that they have a zillion local restaurants that I'm always amazed there. The food scene there, I think, is incredible because you can walk into like a corner bar and it doesn't look like much. And there are a couple of drunks slumped over the bar in the one room, and then you go in the back, and they got like a great Italian restaurant. So it's always been a big surprise to me when I've been there. And we have several favorite spots that we like to go to locally off the casino circuit there. But everybody says the same thing. They all say that Gordon Ramsay is truly a very kind and generous guy, and that much of what he does on the show is an act. But I don't know. I mean, could you take being berated all the time? Did you? You didn't have that many sessions. You were always viewed in a favorable light by program directors because you were kind of the go-between for them to deliver the message that they thought my show sucked.
No, well, see, the problem is my indoctrination into radio was the worst boss I've ever had, and the most honest.
Oh, was that Ken Charles?
And it wasn't honest, actually. It was more
when somebody's constantly being disparaging and you're in the talent industry. I don't think it really works.
It was eviscerating, egregious, and it was over stupid shit. And it was like, dude, I shouldn't even be here. Like, I'm more educated, and I'm not even this person. But when you talk about when you're gambling and your money's on the line, you become racist in ways you didn't know existed. Like I'm not a me. Clearly, you see what I do and what we do in our life. I'm always the guy that just does what he has to do to get the job done. Like, I've always been that guy. But when someone's pushing you and makes you turn into this, dude, I have a fucking master's. I was teaching college 3 months ago. I'm more accomplished than you are, you piece of garbage. Like, where do you get the right to talk to me like that?
It was really weird. Yeah.
I never would say anything of that out loud, but like the difference is that person really was that person, or the other people liked them. So maybe it was an act too to try and get the best out of you, which I've never. When a coach does it, it's one thing. When you're in a goddamn radio station and it's 6:30 in the morning, like no one wants to be fucking yelled at. So, anyways, I'm not a fan of that.
One more minute of dead air and you're out of here, Lubie.
I don't get it. I don't think it didn't get I'm at my best when people are lifting me up. Like what Kamala Harris should say all the time, like pushing me down never made me better. Some people are like, Alex actually said the minute that the take would cut, Ramsey would run over to you, be like, "Oh my God, are you okay? I'm so sorry," And then they'd go back, and then he'd be berating you, and he's like, it was like this weird.
I like when he spits the food out. That's one of my favorite moves by Gordon Ramsay, and you really can't see him doing that. But anyway, good. I'm glad you guys had a good time, and they do a great job. I've said this before. I was never a fan of food festivals, that type of thing, wine and food festivals. I think the South Beach Wine and Food Festival, this probably, I might. I mean, I don't know. People that have gone, they eat it up literally, figuratively. But I always thought it was lame. I don't know. The times I went down there, I was wildly disappointed. And when I have these little festivals like Boca Raton here, there, and the other places, many times it was just exasperating because you would wait online, and then you get like a morsel of food, a medallion of something, and a thimble full of wine, and you're thinking, well, why the hell did I pay $100 to come to this?
$100, yeah.
Could have just gone to Denny's and had a good meal. I would have been better off. All right. Many things on the sporting scene. Tony Segreto is going to join us here shortly. Tony, we had to switch around a couple of things with Tony's schedule. So he's going to be with us here today in a couple of minutes. And we will have the professor and a big board. So we do have an agenda here on the show. Sometimes, you know what, and we talk a lot of degenerate gambling on this program. And it's funny because you can have a tendency to ignore the obvious. Is that a fair statement, Lubie? Just ignore the obvious. Yes. And I always look at this once regular seasons get underway. NFL, you could have picked out a couple of teams this year and just bet against them every time and made money. If you only bet against like the Titans, I don't know. Later on in the season, the Carolina Panthers started covering a couple of points.
I was going to say the Panthers until like the last month when Bryce Young sort of figured it out a little bit.
Yeah. But for most of the season, and I would imagine they came out on the underside of 500, even the Carolina Panthers with their improved play towards the end of the year. But the Titans were like 4-13 against the spread, something in that area. There were other teams in that category. So if you can identify these stiffs or the teams that are really going to excel against the point spread in any league, whether you're talking about betting football, basketball, hockey, whatever it is that you're doing. Then you can ride that wave, but you would not expect this because we were talking about it. The NBA has become a near impossible proposition. I haven't paid a lot of attention to the NBA yet. I mean, peripherally, yes, of course, because I do have an interest in basketball. We do have the Heat to cover here, and I'm interested in other teams around the league. But the the season for me, in terms of looking at it from a gambling standpoint, it really hasn't taken hold yet because you've got all this football, and it's much more of an interesting proposition to try and figure these games out. But here's a weird one, Lubie. If you were just betting the Thunder and the Cavaliers who played last night, straight up and against the spread. Now, they're the two teams with the two best records. I think the Cavs surprised a lot of people the way they came out of the chute. Many people thought Oklahoma City was going to be good this year. Yes. But then they had the Chet Holmgren injury, which is he back in Holmgren? I think he might have just returned. Is that possible?
I know that when they played the last time, he was on the bench. So, yeah. I mean, maybe he's playing now, but they've
I'm not sure if he's back yet. I couldn't swear to that. But
I don't know if he is. They've stormed out to this pace without arguably their second best player, which is really impressive.
All right, so if you had been betting these two teams, now the Cavs were a little bit of a surprise, like I said, but if you had been betting these two teams since the beginning of the season, straight up, you're way ahead, of course, although you're probably laying a price, so I don't know what the overall profit margin would be. But against the spread, Louis, imagine this, and the odds makers haven't caught up with these two teams, the best in the league by far. The Thunder against the spread are now 28-9.
Jeez.
And the Cavs against the spread are 27-13 through 40 games. 28-9, 27-13. That adds up to 55-22.
Wow.
You'd be hammering your bookmaker. You'd be cashing that. They might even deny you access to certain betting sites because if you're
cut him
off, Lou. Cut him off. 55-22, the two best teams in the league against the point spread. And we're here trying to rack our brains to figure out some kind of an angle so you can get the Indiana Pacers home. And just bet the top two teams in the league all season long so far through half the season. You're up 33 units, Lubie. 33 units. If you're a standard bet like Andy is $10,000 a game. $130,000 just betting two teams. You don't have to pay attention to anything else. You don't have to handicap. You don't have to do shit. I love that. All right, here's a guy that probably figured this out at the beginning of the year and quietly, and is not the kind of guy that's going to start bragging about all his winning bets. Would be the great Tony Segreto. Join us. You look good, kid. How are you, man? You peeled yourself off the mat very well from that thing that happened the other day.
I peeled myself off the mat. I can't believe, this. It's over. But anyway, I'm good. I'm ready to go.
Good morning,
Lubie. Lubie, you look great.
I got a haircut finally. I was looking shaggy like a dog.
More than one cut.
Yes, he went right down to the skin, which is fine. I look clean. Good to see you. I'm glad you're feeling better. You had me worried for a second there.
You look like you got a little sun, Tony. You've been out in the sunshine.
I've been walking a little bit, and I've been, watching myself and taking care of myself, and doing the right things.
Good man.
You don't have there's not even a semblance of an ounce of body fat on you.
I've gained some weight, but it's okay.
No chance. I mean, you look great, Tony. All right, enough about us and our physical appearance, which
Jeff, you look great.
He looks very.
I'm staggering around here, but I'm trying to stay in the game. You know how it is, Tony. You get up there. 54 used to be the Mendoza line for men, in our opinion. We formulated that theory. It was actually the Polyman came up with that. He said 54 is a Mendoza line for men. That's where things start to become a little bit more serious, where you go to the doctor, and when he gives you the look, it's not just because you're 10 pounds over on the scale. It's because he may have to remove some organs.
Yes.
You start losing body parts and internal parts of your chemistry there, and you're thinking, this isn't good. Now, I think the bar has been raised here, and that's true, because we do have more longevity in terms of lifespan expectancies, and I think the Mendoza line for men is like somewhere mid-60s.
Yeah.
Is that a fair assessment, Tony? You haven't fallen apart yet, so I don't know that you're fair to even weigh in. But it's where, like, the
wheels are starting to come off.
Oh, Jesus.
The smallest thing exacerbates itself into like 10 days of inactivity.
I'm going to be 75 in April.
Wow. Well, you certainly don't look a day over
40-something, honestly.
74.
He looks younger than me.
I would take the under on 75. That's for sure. All right. How excited are you for the upcoming weekend, Tony Segreto?
I am
Are you
very-
riding the tails of? Well, I know you're riding Notre Dame in the college games,
Yes.
and that's Ohio State and Notre Dame coming up on Monday
This
night.
Monday. Yep.
What about the NFL? Are you involved in
Yeah,
anything
I'm
there?
excited about the NFL. I can't wait to see Josh and Lamar go at it. They, it's going to be 13 degrees in Buffalo.
Okay. Any snow?
-3 feels,
Yeah.
and possibility of snow.
It feels like -3 there in the summer, though. I know this firsthand.
I got to tell you something. Of all the traveling I did, and I traveled the world.
Yeah.
If I had to pick a city to live in,
You're not going to say that.
yes.
Buffalo? Well, you could go there now, Tony. That's what a lot of people are thinking.
You have weird conditions.
Buffalo has got the greatest people, the greatest restaurants. I know I'm an oddity, and I know I stand out.
This is going to separate you from a lot of sane people.
Every human, including people in Buffalo.
I mean, if you want to go on a pro bowlers tour, I guess it's a good place to start out. What is there, a bowling alley on every corner? People wear like bowling shoes to weddings there. What are you talking about?
Like literally. So Joe Shad, who we've had on this year, was with ESPN forever now, has been with Palm Beach Post, covers the Dolphins, and we've had him on. Joe Shad tweeted yesterday just the weather. That's all he tweeted was the weather, and someone's response was, "Oh yeah, like Baltimore is 70s." I'm like, my response was just this: "It ain't fucking Buffalo." And Shad liked it, and people were just laughing. Baltimore, I'm sure right now is brick. I'm sure it's 30s. I'm sure it's fucking cold. I'm sure it's snowing. Buffalo's the worst weather in our country by like a lot. Like we were in Minnesota, and people felt bad there for Buffalo. Like Buffalo, no way.
After spending 4 years at Syracuse, which I'm not sure which is more extreme in terms of
that's tough.
I'd probably have to vote for Buffalo on that one, even over Syracuse.
Syracuse is bad. Syracuse is bad. Yeah.
Oh no, it's horrendous. I mean, it's free. Fucking freezing is not, enough of an illustration.
We went.
How cold it is.
My daughter had a scholarship to Syracuse.
Oh, nice. Oh, wow.
And we went and visited. There.
Oh.
Yeah. You have to go on a 1 day of Indian summer, as they call it.
Florida State, here I come.
Yeah.
That's right.
Florida State,
here I come.
Yeah. You have to be kidding me, yeah.
I want to be a Seminole.
It was a great place to go to school. There's no doubt about that. But the weather, I do remember several times literally screaming because that was the only way to deal with the wind chill factor when you had to absolutely attend the class.
Why'd you go there?
Well, I mean, for one reason, it was one of the few schools that would accept me. I managed to wrangle a little bit of capital towards my tuition from the baseball team, which was good. So that certainly was an influencing factor because nobody else was going to give me money. And I really only applied to 3 schools when I was applying for colleges because I was thinking I would try to go to a good journalism school. So my dad had attended the University of Missouri, which is noted for its journalism prowess in terms of teaching people and having launched careers. Syracuse, of course, has to rank way up there in terms
Syracuse,
of
even at that time was already great, right? Like I know since then there's like a ridiculous list, but even before then it was already
illustrious. Look, we talked with Rod Serling's daughter the other day. His picture is right up there in the Newhouse School of Communications, and look, you had so many others, and then. Yeah, many, many more. I mean, since then, an even more prominent list has probably emerged.
Yes.
But so that was one of the factors. And the other school I applied to, and maybe this is one of the reasons that I couldn't stand them, although I understand why this took place. I wasn't any exceptional student or anything in terms of grades or SAT scores, but the University of Florida was the school I applied to, and I got rejected.
I hate them too.
Yeah.
You're like us too.
Well, I don't think a lot of out-of-state people get into the University of Florida, being a state school. So I wasn't really aware of that. I just took the letter and burnt it while I was smoking a joint. But I'd already. I mean, I got what I wanted out of the situation. I mean, who would have figured somebody's going to pay me to be like a sports team player? You got to be kidding.
I applied to like 15 schools.
I applied to like 3.
Yeah, but you were smart. You probably paid attention in school, and probably aced the SATs. I stayed up all night with a friend of mine. We were watching Creature from the Black Lagoon, and he was also one of these guys that just liked to harpoon everything that was on TV. And we're laughing our ass off, and then we realize it's 5 a.m, and we got to be at this SAT thing like at 7.
I've done that. You smoke a little bit and you laugh a little bit and you eat a little bit and you smoke some more and then you eat a little bit more and you're watching TV and you go, holy shit, it's 6 in the morning.
We got this test tomorrow, yeah.
And
then you're trying to figure out these impossible scenarios that they give you with reading comprehension. Where I'm glancing over this shit like I'm looking at the box scores from a Met game.
Yes, it's amazing. It's amazing what your body goes through, what your body can take.
Oh, back then it can take a lot.
Because I don't know about you, but Jeff and I abused our body so much.
Are you kidding me?
In radio? I wasn't bad at that stage, though. I really wasn't.
You were in TV, radio. My era, like I would, especially since I was in promotions, like I would do club gigs till literally 4 a.m, and then I had to be there by 5. I would get to the station by 5 something. Like I literally would go home, shower, like you wouldn't sleep. And I'm in my 20s. This is not as like a 17-year, like, yeah. And the stories Defo tells into his 40s. Like,
more like into my 60s. I think I hung it up finally at about 65. That's where the pace began to slow down some. It bothers me though to be like sedentary and just sitting around all night watching CNN. Trying to figure out how many more days we have left before we can call this country by another name. Jesus, it's going to be wild. All right, so you're looking forward to the Buffalo. Everybody's zeroed in on this Buffalo Ravens game. What do you think there, Tony Segreto? Because
I don't know.
They clobbered Buffalo earlier in the season, but that was a long time ago.
You know what? I want to say, Buffalo will win. I just don't know. They're so.
This is a very close time. This is.
I hope Buffalo wins. I hope they get to the next level.
For Buffalo. Did you ever think you would be rooting for the Buffalo Bills?
No, never.
As a Dolphin guy your whole life.
Never.
Don Shula heard this show.
Even with Jim Kelly there.
No, you can't.
He hated the Bills.
Root for him.
You forgot he was Kane. Like he became a Bill.
Austin,
like he was
Reed,
Mr. Buffalo Bill.
Thomas. They haunt Dolphin. I mean, you're very close with Dan Marino. I bet if you bring up anybody but Jim Kelly, if you bring up Lofton, Reed,
Thomas, Jim Kelly and Danny and Thurman Thomas. They're all good friends, and they laugh about the competition now. Yeah. But when they played, they really fought and they really competed.
Those games were exciting too, because you were always hoping the Dolphins could finally figure it out. And the Bills, I mean, how good were they? They went to 4 straight Super Bowls during that.
They were fucking nuts.
And the Dolphins Jets, I saw the other day, still the top 10 plays of
the spike.
Yeah, the fake spike. You can't beat that. You just can't beat that. So
am I one of the few guys that didn't really care for that play? I mean, it was great because I was, involved with the Dolphins like you were. Maybe not now.
How could you not like that play?
I don't know. It was at the time. It was like, okay, great idea, but for some reason, I don't.
Well, Lubie, what do you think?
I thought it was cool. I don't know. I never thought good or bad of it.
Bernie Kosar was responsible for that, supposedly.
Yeah,
maybe it's a little overblown because it's like Marino probably could have done the same fucking thing without doing that. He's
probably would have thrown the ball at a guy.
It was. I like the idea of it and when you watch the way Marino did it was so fucking cool. Like
he did it great.
He was like chilling and he really sold it. Like you really were like, okay, he was like doing the finger thing he would always do, waving. Like
he looked like Mick Jagger behind the line of scrimmage.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Crazy, up and down, back and
then he
forth.
throws the ball so chill, and the Jets are like, "Oh fuck!" Like that's why I like that play, just because Marino was so calm, and the Jets players had
No
no
clue. No clue.
such a weird thing for like professionals to be so out of place. That's the reason I to this day it's like, okay, that's a cool play to like really fool a team like that, like ever.
My favorite Dolphin play of all time, of course, was the hook and lateral to Tony Nathan.
That's the second best play of all.
That was good. I love that, and it came in a spot there where they caught everybody by surprise. Yeah, I mean, the spike play was good. I mean, it was clever. It was well executed by Marino, though. If you're going to fake somebody out and make them think, okay, we can relax here, he's just going to throw the ball into the dirt, and then all of a sudden he pulls back and throws a strike. All right, yeah. Maybe you've changed my mind about that one. Certainly see a lot of it, and people would rank it up there. What, top 5 plays Dolphin history?
Yeah. It was number one.
A big game too, wasn't it? It was a big
number one play of all time in Dolphin. I mean, all these bombs that Marino was throwing. My favorite thing, one of them covering the Dolphins back in those days, was when you used to go on the roof of the Orange Bowl.
Oh yeah,
and you get that was overhead trajectory, type of. Vision of the game, and you would look downfield and see a duper like 5 yards behind a guy, and then Marino would loft one with perfect arc on it, and it would land right in his hands.
Right in his hands. It was.
And you're thinking, wow, that ball was 50 yards in the air, and he hit the guy on his fingertips. Absolutely fantastic. So yeah, with so many great plays like that, it's hard to think that this trick play would be one that you would. Say, hey, this is one of the most brilliant plays of a guy's career. But I guess, looking at it, the amount of attention it's gotten, that certainly is true. All right, so you think you're rooting for the Bills?
I really want Josh Allen to win.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. But
the Defo actually likes him too. I don't know.
I like Josh Allen a lot. I really do.
I do too.
He's like a good dude. It's annoying. He's too good. It's like he's a good dude, which is really fucking annoying because I want to hate him. Yes. I actually would root for the Ravens because look, Baltimore is built for this. They really are, right? Especially adding Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. As much as he's from South Florida, he's been in Baltimore a long time now, and he's played they've played in the playoffs every year, so they played cold weather games. So
I heard a great stat. I heard a great line today.
Okay,
who the heck would want to tackle Derrick Henry in 13 degrees?
That's because the Bills don't have any of that. The Bills actually are very bereft of talent. So it should lean Ravens. They should almost repeat what they did earlier in the year. There's just something about this weather versus that guy and Josh Allen. Again, who wants to tackle Josh Allen in this weather? Like Josh.
People forget how big he is.
People have stalled Lamar Jackson's running in the playoffs. Josh Allen's running is just running fucking over you. So like, it just my gut feels like Buffalo this time of year with Josh Allen. No, they won't beat the Chiefs because the Chiefs are just too much. And again, they won't be at home. Like Bills at home this time of year, it's just a lot. It's just maybe I have flashbacks to the 90s. Maybe that's what it was. And it was always a goddamn nightmare. No matter what team we had, we were really excited. And then you see Thurman Thomas catch a stupid ass screen at like the 11 and go 90 fucking yards. And it's like, never mind. Daryl Talley, Cornelius Bennett, and fucking Steve Tasker on special teams, and they rave about the goddamn. I'm having flashbacks. So like, it's just hard for me to see Buffalo in January and go, yeah, the other team's going to win. Like, it's just, I don't know. There's something in me that it feels like they're going to find a way.
Yes, I hope Buffalo wins.
All right,
that's all.
Well, and you like any other games, Tony?
I like Detroit.
Okay, well, of course, yeah, you can't help it.
Can't help it, but
be thrown out of the house. You'd be in the streets.
I come knock on your door, Jeff, and
we have a room for rent if you want to. No,
Kansas City, of course, and what's the other one?
Oh, you got Kansas City taking on Houston. The Rams taking on the Philadelphia Eagles.
That's the tough one. The Rams and the Eagles, and I think I'll go with the Rams.
I'm going to go ahead and take the points with the Rams. It's probably going to be something I feel stupid about after the game's over.
100%.
Saquon Barkley. I mean, people haven't. They talk about Derrick Henry as they should. I guess certainly in the Northeast, they're all over Saquon Barkley in a season he had. But
phenomenal.
Just as remarkable an influence. I think the difference there, though, is Lamar Jackson still would be I think performing at a high level, even if Derrick Henry wasn't there, if they had some other running back. But I don't know that Jalen Hurts is the same quarterback that he was a couple of years ago.
Something happened to Jalen Hurts.
Maybe injuries. It could be a lot of things.
A combination of things.
But he's not near the quarterback at this point, in my opinion, anyway, that Lamar Jackson is. So talk about a guy that bailed somebody out. It would be Saquon Barkley. But it's interesting. And I don't know how close you were with Chris Shula, who,
oh my God,
how is he not getting some of these interviews, or maybe he is for head coaching positions? And how weird would that be to see Chris Shula now, a third generation Shula? I mean, if one of the Ryans has a kid, I don't know if they do, that coaches in the NFL. Have we seen that? What, we're three generations of
I don't think so.
Coach have become head coaches in the NFL.
Sean McNamara. Who is Sean McNamara's father?
Are you talking about the Bills coach?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't heard him. I don't know.
You don't even get the Bills coach.
You don't even get father sons like the Ryans. The Buddy did get to become a head coach, right? Like Buddy, head coach. That's it. Like I don't even know. Like the third generation's tough. I don't like the Lombardi. There was a Lombardi that I think was involved, but I don't think because that's the thing with Chris Shula. Like you first heard his name. I don't know. I think a year or so ago you heard him, but it was almost like just a dude that was there, but he's legit. He's not just, this isn't a Nepo. Like the dude, what he's done with the Rams defense is fucking insane. And they give him the credit. They don't pull any punches. As good as McVay is, they don't bring up McVay. Like they love showing Chris Shula. And the dude is, you see him on the mic, you see him engaged, you see him involved, and you see them doing stuff. For nepotism at work, he's legit. Like, I'm not going to lie. And David Shula was a good dude. We've had him on the show. I never wanted him here.
David is a prince of a guy.
I never wanted him here in Miami. Chris Shula, as the McDaniel clock is ticking, I actually am disagreeing with Defo. I hope no one fucking interviews him. I hope he has another year. And I think it'd be freaking cool if he came home and Chris Shula was the Miami Dolphins head coach, because he feels like a dude that's ready to take that step. And I'm scared that someone's going to grab him, because I think he would fit in Miami just really well. Not even the storyline, which
you're right.
Harper. But I think he's a legit coach. And I think then also with the Shula ties, he would take it really seriously. Like, I'm hoping no one even interviews this guy, because he's a star in the making, like Chris Shula.
He is. And he's flown under the radar, and he's done a good job. And I wish him, but David Shula deserves it. If anybody deserves it, David Shula deserves it.
Really good. No doubt about it.
David is a great guy.
We got to run, Tony. Here we got some stuff to fit in.
Oh my God!
What are you up to? Yeah. No, that went by quickly. But so where what are you going to be doing now? You're here in Florida, I can see.
I'm here in Florida. I'll be at Gulfstream today, I hope.
Oh, you will? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very good.
I have a doctor's appointment, so depending on how late that goes, but I think I'll be there.
All right.
And I'm going to be home. I'll watch the games tomorrow, Sunday, and Monday night. Go Irish!
All right, very good. Very good.
Oh yeah. Oh, so that's your pick, okay?
That's going to be a long road to battle. Boy, that's tough.
So I don't imagine, actually, after that Michigan game, that Ohio State ended up, in all likelihood, may end up.
And you know what? Real quick, is Ryan Day hard to like?
Well, just the fact that he's following in the footsteps of Urban Meyer.
And Urban Meyer is firing the. Oh. I swear.
Not for me. No, Ohio State will always be very low on my list of teams that I could ever embrace.
So you're going to Notre Dame too?
No. I've gotten a smaller. I mean, I don't know. It's probably blasphemous.
You know what?
To let Notre Dame off the hook, but I don't mind them as much as I used to.
Marcus Freeman, and Josh Allen has made Notre Dame and Buffalo likable.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, somewhat. A lot of bitterness. All right, Tony, we love you. Maybe we'll see you later. We hope so. And have a great day. And thanks so much for joining us here on the show.
Bye-bye.
All right. Tony Segreto, Old School, brought to you by Texas Roadhouse Restaurants. I thought he would have a story about Chris Shula sitting on his knee.
Yeah, I was waiting to hear, because again, you would think Chris Shula would have been around team. Like the Shulas were. David is his dad, I think, right? So like
Yes,
David
Shula. And it's legitimate. He could not be a nicer guy.
Well, no, he's great. We met him a bunch of times, and I know you knew him for years. But like, he was here doing the Shula, so you would think Chris Shula would have grown up here. So you would think he would have been around the organization. So yeah, I don't know. You haven't heard a lot of like Don Shula, Chris Shula stories.
I didn't even know he had a grandson that was coaching.
Like, no. Like,
I'm watching a Rams game one day, and I go, "There's Chris Shula." I'm thinking, Schuler? No, Shula. Hey, asshole. All right, we're coming back. The professor going to join us here in just a sec. We'll have a big board and many other things to go through, including we'll get the professor's opinion on the Ohio State Notre Dame game, and back with that in a moment. Now that
the time
it's 8:38.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-45.
Ric Flair, the world's heavyweight champion. I don't have to say a lot more about the way I feel about Ric Flair. No respect, no honor. There is no honor among thieves. He put hard times on Dusty Rhodes and his family. Daddy.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show. A little bit of difficulty here connecting with the professor, who we always enjoy on these Fridays. In fact, he kind of makes the whole show there with the big board. And one of the great segments, I think, in all of video streaming, when it was a radio segment, was his power rankings. Always a lot of fun. So hoping to connect and at least get that into the program. In the meantime, it's funny. Chris Visser is relentless. You're right about that. He knows I'm doing a show like all morning long and different shows, and still calls me every day. And he'll call right back. Watch, his phone will ring again in about 3 seconds. Probably saw his name pop up on the caller ID. Have you ever been caught doing that, where some guy finds a way to out you for ignoring his call? Where they're actually like standing behind you, and you got your phone, and you're at the track, and you see, okay, Jersey lights up there, and you're thinking, I don't feel like talking right now. And then sure enough, the guy's like right behind you. You fucking asshole. You don't answer your phone. He is relentless in that regard. Turn him on to something. I'm hoping it works out there, Libby, because we will be expanding the horizons of this show and also shortening the length of the show to a half hour, which is much more conducive to the modern standards. Do people listen and watch the things for an hour anymore? I don't know that they do.
Rogan does. I mean, again, we're not Rogan, but he does like 4 hours. I mean, look, to me, the time constraint thing, I tell to people who are new because I never trust what they do. For us, we're doing 4 hours. So an hour is whatever to me. I think it takes time to develop thoughts and discussions. And
how did we do this 4 hours, man? Especially,
I thought about that the other day. I was like, it flew by, and it always felt like we had more to do when we were ending. But it's like, fuck, it was
I'm fine pretty quickly. I have to say, I'm amazed by that, because I was thinking as I was schlepping up the stairs and saying to myself, wow, is this not the way to go? I used to, pack the equipment bag, had to make sure I had that in the car. And there were only, I think, 2 or 3 times in the many years that I was schlepping equipment around to set up my own radio remotes where I actually forgot to bring the stuff.
Oh, jeez.
And that's an horrendous realization when you get to the destination there and you're thinking, okay, I'm just going to make it. I got just enough time. And then you look in the bag and fuck, I forgot that he said so. Or the whole bag for that matter. And that happened to me a couple of times. Get there to do the trivia challenge. I remember one day, Toyota of Hollywood, I was probably indulging in a little too much of my chemical powder at that time. But nonetheless, I get there. The guys are sitting there, Dave and the Pauly man, and now I probably lived a good half hour away, and it's about 15 minutes to post time, and in the trunk of my car is nothing. They're like, what the fuck? Hard to do these kind of shows just on a cell phone too.
No.
We had that though, because at 940 wins, the station itself, not so much us,
Yeah,
but
they had
the
issues.
station itself led the league in blown remotes.
A lot of issues. Yep.
We were doing Dolphin pregame shows from this car dealership. I guess it's kind of a combination dealership to 5 or 6 dealerships, like a Miami Lakes Auto Mall or something like that. Does that ring a bell with you, Louie? You weren't involved in this particular pregame.
No. When you did the pregames, yeah.
Yeah, that was before they made you part of the team, and more than justifiably so.
With Manny, was it Manny? You were doing with Manny, I think.
Manny Munoz from WIOD was my partner, and we get to the place, it's closed. They don't even have a custodian there. So what do? I mean, you're figuring somebody's going to open it up. Of course, they try to contact the sales executive who had sold this deal, and in like the second week of the
it was like the second week. Yeah,
piece of business they were doing, the guy's already out cold. You can't even get a hold of him. And so we ended up driving back to the station because this was going to be, I think, a 2-hour show. And while the show started, before we left the dealership, thinking that somebody had to show up there. And so the two of us, Manny in his own car and me driving my car, were on cell phones as they were filtering this through the station's processing board there. And it was like literally Manny from Miramar is talking to Defo from Denver. And I'm thinking, this is really horseshit. This is supposed to be like professional radio. But they did lead the league in blown remotes, and every now and then you would be afflicted with this problem. It's one thing if the stuff doesn't work, but you have it.
Yep. Then that's not on you. Like those are the ones where we would be like, whatever. Like they can't blame us. It's
you used to have to use a specialized phone line, and it was
go down.
And traditionally, when the people in the billing and collections or whatever. The financial end of it, they would look at the bill for this ISDN phone line and say, what the fuck is this? Who's making 2-hour telephone calls at $10 a minute or whatever the hell it was?
It was like nuts. It was like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Where they really robbed you blind, though, was on those radio rows. And we always tried that. That's when you developed the Professor's Fugazi broadcasting system, the FPS.
Well, we were recording anyways.
Yeah. So. But it was funny because
they
now whack you for $2,000 for that ISDN phone line to set it up for a couple of days, even though they've already got everything in place, and all they're really doing is popping another plug into what is a multiple input piece of equipment, and $2,000 just to turn your thing on. Unbelievable, Lubie. NFL, like they need the money, right?
Well, I mean, the idea is they were trying to get rid of old stuff, but yeah, I mean, and it wasn't. It sounded clear, but it wasn't considered. Like you would have so many issues with ISDN all the time. It was so fucking annoying.
Crazy. Yeah. Well, you do need to learn a little bit of engineering if you're going to do it.
You got to. No, you have to. I mean, the streaming isn't exactly the same, but that's this business. That's the interesting part. No matter who you are, you have to find a way to sort of get through it. Which, I mean, I guess it makes you better at what you do, but it's annoying and it's nerve-wracking.
But where you used to think, hey, 4-hour radio show is just like 3 hours was the ideal number. A radio sports talk show, 3 hours. Don't put a guy on for 4 because he gets to that 4th hour and his head's hitting the microphone, and you're like, okay, we could talk about football, we could talk about basketball, we could talk about soccer if you want, although I hate this. Like the same fucking shtick. I mean, that always bothered me too. That was one of my, where I would always have a little bit of a negative reaction when some guy would say that and introduce a segment like, we could talk about this, we could talk about that.
No.
And you're thinking, what is that?
You're in control.
But that's hour number 4 of a lot of sports talk radio shows, is it not, Lubie?
Yeah.
Although, some of these network shows, what do they have? They have like 20 producers. Are there really like 20 producers on a show like there are when you see like McAfee and, what, Dan Patrick has like 11 guys with him?
Oh,
When have you ever seen a show like that? Ever?
In real life?
Yeah, it was you and me, and that was it.
Local, they're usually more than what we had. No, I mean, most people had like 3 to 4 people on staff.
Yeah.
Like Castronova would have that. Like,
Castronova.
Buffalo would have at least 2 to 3. Like, they're usually 2 to 3 people. We just sort of did our own thing.
Oh, we were in the closet there.
We're like,
it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But I don't know that it's necessary to have like 100 guys.
No, I wonder what they do when I look at some of these shows. I'm like, Dan Patrick last week, and I get it. They're on TV and they're on now 400 stations because they've literally ruined the fucking game and they've put everyone out of business. But they're like, yeah, we have a small team here. We only have like 11 to 14 people. I'm like, you're really lucky you never had to do what we did, my friend. Like, get the fuck out of here.
What do all these guys do? Exactly.
I was like, yeah, what does everyone do? Like, I get it. You find a way to make your job seem more important. People are really good in the entertainment business at doing that. Yeah. But it's like, okay.
Like, what do you guys produce one of these things? So anyway, we're going to go with a compact format. I mean, over the few years we've been doing this, and you can see it. I don't know the people's attention span, or do they have the time to sit there and watch for much more than a half hour? And the real game is, I think you're probably going to see some of this forced at the end of shows as we first start doing this, and before we get the handle on it, will be Lubie saying something about what we're going to go from 8:30 to 9, and then around 8:50, 9:50, Lubie will be screaming, "Would you say one interesting thing? We need the clip." Because the whole game is to get these short clips. I mean, that's just the way it is. And if you can hit on a couple of them and people start following you, then bingo. The next thing you know, everything gets back on track. But I don't know. I mean, I don't. We may have a couple of days where we do the full hour. I don't know, Libby, how you feel about that.
I don't. I mean, I'm fine doing an hour, but I whatever. Like, it's a different world.
But it would be a separate show, and so it'd be hard to start the show all over again.
I don't know. It's a different world. Yeah. So
We'll see.
Whatever. I play everything by
any way to make our lives easier, Libby, and maybe make more money doing it.
Look, I'm all about broadening horizons, and more people finding us, the better. Especially in this world where there's a lot out there, but not a lot out there. Like that's the funny thing.
So much looks the same. So we're going to try and find a way to distinguish ourselves from the rest of the people that are like, I think the Blue Jackets are playing some good hockey right now. And you're like, wow, that's enlightening. Not that we have anything great to say, but we at least try to approach it in a different way. That's for sure. So anyway, that's going to be happening on Monday. So we'll be joining you at 8:30 on Monday, and we're hoping that we will now have our new platform, Bleacher Brothers, which I've been doing some shows with that are a lot of fun. I actually watched the beginning of the show with Mercurio. We're going to go and see tonight. And what happened was at the start of the show, Libby, I'm trying to figure out a way to bring on a comedian that, we're going to be talking to this guy for the better part of an hour. And, I'm thinking, okay, how do we get off to some kind of a spark of a start? So we played the clip of his stand-up. And then the producer, in this case, a guy named Toby, came on with me. I called for him to come on and explain what the fuck was this. This was a sports show. And who was responsible? And of course, we blamed A.J. Johnson, and it was sort of an angry exchange, at least with me feigning to be angry. That this was the case,
like an old school skit, yeah.
Right. And then he came on, and he was absolutely great. So we're going to be seeing him tonight. I don't know how he's going to pull this off, Lubie. Isn't this really like trying to fish out a caller?
I don't know. Significant. It would scare me because people get gun shy, but I guess that's what I'm curious is how he picks the people he's going to talk to. Like, does he? Because how
can you not have a traveling group of plants?
Yeah, did
they all get off the plane with him? I mean, or does he fly private? And
look, if people want to talk, then they'll give you. You would think they'll be okay. It's just a lot of the time people try to be funny, and then that's when you're not. Like the videos I've seen of these shows that he's doing when he gives me these clips, it's like people who are funny by quote unquote accident, right? Like they're just being themselves, and then the way he plays off of them, that's funny. Yeah. When people try to be funny, a lot of time they're not. So that's what my fear would be: someone trying to, outclass me, and then their stuff just deadpan. So I look, the guy
Would you
knows.
be inclined to get up?
I'll do whatever. Yeah, I love.
Yeah, you would. Wow.
Oh no, it's fine. I mean, Shirley and I are definitely funny because we don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So whether we're at home or we're with people, we are who we are, and those are usually the people that are the funniest. The people that don't hide who they really are. I don't think he's gonna go to me. He would probably go to randoms, but I'm not nervous for him because he knows what he's doing. He's done this a lot now. I'm very curious to see it in front of our faces, like him just grab random people and then be hysterical.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. We'll see how that goes because I think it's a death trap, and yet, I mean, the guys at the Broward Center for the Performing Arts, this is no slouch auditorium, is it, Libby? I mean, I've been there a couple of times. Don't remember the last thing I saw there. I find it odd that it looks like you have separate seats, but it's just a weird way they do it, where the left side is the odd seats and the right side is the evens. I don't know if you looked at your tickets.
Oh, I've been to a show at the Broward
Like, why did they put somebody between us? That's a fucking weird thing. Is that common in theaters where one side of the aisle is all odd numbers and the other is all evens?
I don't think so. I
When
don't.
you normally go, you go to a ballpark, you got row 7, seats 13 and 14, and they're right there, 13 and 14. What the fuck?
Yes.
So we'll see. But yeah, that should be fun. We're looking forward to that tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to experiment with this new thing on Monday and see if we can't make something happen here and shake it up a little bit. So that'll be on Bleacher Brothers, and you can catch these Conversations episodes. They're up there now, including the one with Mercurio, which it started out on a very positive note and just dissipated down to no, it was sort of stayed at that level of energy throughout the show. All right, what's your prediction going to be, Lubie? We'll give you the college game first.
Yeah.
Ohio State, Notre Dame. Who wins? Who wins against the spread?
I think Ohio State wins. Look, I get it. Texas played them well, and if Sark doesn't get cute there, Texas may have won that game. But again, like many of us said, Texas and Ohio State were the most talented teams all year. They just hit lulls for whatever reason. I think Notre Dame's fought as hard as they can. They've gone as far as they can. They're two different teams. Look, the way people are talking about how Notre Dame can win is mucking it up and making it slow and, taking Ohio State. I think Ohio State takes itself out of the game. I think they're literally just head and shoulders above everyone else this year. And as long as Ryan Day lets Chip Kelly just fucking throw the ball around and keep it open, I don't think there's anyone this year that can hang with Ohio State. The change is when Ryan Day gets in the way and he tries to weirdly make them a running old school team. There's no reason to do that. There's nothing wrong with running, but you have so much talent in the receiving core. Throw the ball around, and then late in the game, what they've been doing, run the ball down their throat when they're exhausted and end the game. Like, if they do that, I don't think Notre Dame has a goddamn chance. Like, I think Ohio State will win this game going away. Like, that's really where I am with that game.
All right. And of the games on the NFL slate, which one are you most inclined?
I mean, it's Ravens, Bills, but then you guys brought up the Rams, Eagles is interesting because the Eagles are this team that's been there for now, like it's 3 years. I mean, they went to a Super Bowl. They almost went to Super Bowl the year before. And they're here again. And they hate their coach and they're in flux. It's really weird.
Yeah.
But they have a lot of the same returning parts. The Rams won a Super Bowl, then fell off a cliff, and then have built it back up the last couple of years. It feels like the Rams are peaking at the right time. And that's sort of what we see work in the NFL playoffs. We've seen the Giants do that with a 9-17 that one year. Like, Ken's a little late. But he can jump in for a second.
Okay, there he is.
Go on for a second and give his opinion on the game.
I was just wondering if he was going to be around for the Bury Your Bookie show, and there he is. He looks great.
I do not look great. Hold on. Let me see if I can.
No, you look good. You really do. It's not bad. All right, we got a couple of minutes here, Professor. So, maybe that's good because we can do a big board on Bury Your Bookie and introduce a whole new group of people to the whole thing if you're capable of pulling it off technically. But what do you think? Ohio State, Notre Dame. Likelihood, I'm assuming you hate both teams.
100%.
This is an ISIS game.
Yes. As I said last week, the good news is that, Hopefully, ISIS will buy a bigger truck this time.
Jesus.
Maybe a killdozer.
What do you think?
I mean, look, there's a lot of things go both ways on this one. You know, everybody's talking like Ohio State beat the hell out of Texas.
No, they didn't.
Texas was 1 yard away from tying the game with 3 minutes left, and Sark turned into a retard. Like,
One of the most egregious, outrageous
stupid
calls you could ever make in that spot.
right, second one, we got a quarterback on the bench who's 6'4", 230 pounds and runs, and has the most famous name in quarterbacking. So I'm running an outside pitch and lose 7 yards.
Who throws the ball backwards in that spot?
On the other hand, Notre Dame, no business in this game, no business winning, completely incompetent quarterback in Riley Leonard. And they're Notre Dame, so you despise them. Like, I don't really see a great angle in this. I'm leaning a little bit Ohio State, but I'm not as in love with this as some people seem to be out there.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you were looking at Texas, and they were kind of struggling and hurting themselves the whole game, and then all of a sudden they're in a position to tie in a ball game, and you're stunned. You're saying, "Wait a minute." Not only did they pitch the ball backwards to a guy 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, which was the half-yard line, on a second down play, but then they allow the defensive end on the left side to just flash right across the field and tackle the guy.
Safety who crashed through the gap. Yeah. Anyway, we do have a big board ready if you guys want to do it real fast.
If you can.
Sorry, I'm late.
Yeah.
We got Gonzaga and Oregon State late, so sorry about that, guys.
Oh, no problem. Okay. Were you on the right side there? The Zags went down, did they not?
Yes, I was on the correct side.
Oh, good for you.
If you can run through it, that's on Defo, though. I mean, I know he's got to go. You got the
because I'm thinking we can do this thing on the other show, and people will, become enlightened in a fashion that they've never seen before. Because there's only one college game to talk about anyway, and I don't know. Will you be inclined to put a lot of money on it?
No, I would not.
Yeah.
Look, a lot of contrary things. Look, Notre Dame, they're a defensive team, but without their nose tackle, go back and watch that Penn State game. Penn State's offensive line pushed them all over the field, but Penn State's quarterback, Drew Aller, was like actively working for Notre Dame in the game. On the other hand, Ohio State, again, did not dominate Texas at all. Now, anyway, leading the Ohio State, again, people acting like they dominated Texas, really should have been a tie game with Texas 3 minutes in. And the last time these two teams matched up, Ryan Day went into a shell and then, ended up with a goal line push with a minute left, or with 0 seconds left in the game. Became a whole thing because I don't think they kicked an extra point in that to miss a cover or something along those lines. Anyway, we'll see. Not excited about that game. Unfortunately, not excited to wake up in time either this morning.
All right, Lubie says, we can probably put 10 minutes on the clock here. I don't know if you want to go through some of these.
We're doing it now?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't really have a good subject this week. So
I like this stuff.
I am doing a barbecue thing tonight with Mayo for for the lunch show for the Visit Fort Lauderdale. The Visit Fort Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival is the worst name ever, by the way. Like, that's so long and awkward to say, and there's like too many L's in there. But yeah, so we're doing that. So I thought, what better way than to celebrate barbecue by ranking all the remaining playoff teams in order based on barbecue of their city.
All right, let's shoot it as fast as we can here.
All right. We have a bonus here, which is just a side note, which is that Detroit style is fake and it sucks anyway. You ask any famous person from Detroit, and thin pizza with little pepperoni cups was never a thing in the city of Detroit. Some asshole just made this up 5 years ago, and somehow America has fallen for it or is pretending that this is a real thing. It is not a real thing, and the food scene in Detroit is so bad that their fucking coach, Dan Campbell, not only does commercials for Applebee's, he does commercials for boneless wings in Applebee's. Boneless wings are basically a goddamn war crime. And the food scene in Detroit is so bad that you could actually picture Dan Campbell going to Applebee's and eating stuffing boneless wings in his face and drinking one of their sugary piece of crap looks like radiator fluid drinks at the bar. That's how bad the Detroit food scene is. So they're not even ranked on this because that's how bad Detroit is.
Little Caesars is their signature pizza.
Exactly.
Probably the worst. I don't even know if that
I've actually heard people say, yes, Detroit signature pizza is like Domino's and Little Caesars because it was invented there.
Yes.
Yeah. Ugliness.
Yeah,
the guy owns the whole city. It's
all right.
So
that's number 5,
which is Kansas City barbecue is pure garbage.
Oh, wow.
I love it.
Right.
It is the most overrated. And honestly, I didn't just pick this picture out. This is the first picture that appears on Google when you Google
Jesus,
Kansas City barbecue. And look at that plate. It is such a sloppy, disgusting mess. And really represents Kansas City well with their shit sides. They don't know how to do good sides. And what do? They just take and slop that crappy molassesy garbage sauce around on everything. So basically, just there could be anything under there. There could be, I don't know, a gerbil underneath that. And that's the whole spirit of Kansas City barbecue. Just keep pouring on that sweet molassesy nonsense sauce to disguise everything else. And really, most overrated barbecue city, and I know you people in Kansas City take pride in it. You take pride in something sloppy and disgusting, much like you take pride in the Royals. So, sort of fits with the theme of your city. But yeah, Kansas City, number 5, the worst ranked barbecue in all of our rankings today. Number 4, something that would only be number 4 in a year where Kansas City was deep in the playoffs, and that is Baltimore pit beef, which is basically just fucking Arby's. Somehow more disgusting. But Baltimore pit beef is actually kind of popular. My personal theory is that white people just saw it on The Wire and were like, well, the black people on The Wire like it, so it must be good. If you think Baltimore pit beef good, it's good. You know what the hell you're talking about? It's a cheap piece of meat that they cook hot and fast, so it never, and I mean never, gets tender. And then they cover up the fact that it is tough and disgusting by just slathering it with raw onion and horseradish. And I happen to like raw onion and horseradish as a combination. But it doesn't hide for me the fact that the meat is cheap and tough, and the only way you keep it edible is to slice it super thin. Well, you know who does all of that? Fucking Arby's. You know what? The only difference between a Baltimore pit beef sandwich and an Arby's sandwich is it lacks the special sauce that gives you diarrhea that Arby's slags all the food in. In other words, Baltimore pit beef would absolutely be last place if not for Kansas City. But much as I love the Ravens and I'm cheering for Lamar Jackson, when we're going by the barbecue ratings, Baltimore deeply in trouble this weekend.
All right.
That takes us to number 3, which is, oh, wait, wrong screen. Philadelphia and Buffalo. It's better not to have barbecue than to have barbecue. Like Kansas City and Baltimore. I got to be honest. I have no idea how there's no barbecue in either of these cities.
Yes.
Buffalo, I sort of get it because, number 1, it's always so cold and depressing. Philly, like, how is there no Philly barbecue style? How is it just cheesesteaks? I don't understand.
Yeah, they would have a very
hearty city,
voluminous, contribution from the barbecue side of things.
Right, but not at all. No, just cheesesteaks and wings. And, both are pretty solid contributions to the football food world. I mean, I can't argue with it.
Yeah.
So we got to give them some credit. So no barbecue is better than terrible barbecue. And that takes us to the shocking rankings here.
Okay.
I think probably the most surprising, which is that
LA
Korean barbecue is actually shockingly good entry.
Yeah,
Korean barbecue. Now you have to open your minds here up a little bit, people. But if you have never had Korean barbecue, you are missing out. And I know it does not look like traditional barbecue because you do the lettuce wraps and the rice,
Right.
kimchi, and all the funky side dishes. But Korean barbecue is actually delicious. If you have not tried, particularly out on the LA scene, and if you have not tried it, you are missing out.
Yeah,
And
fire.
to let you know, in terms of the barbecue rankings here, the Rams are very dangerous in this game, which hopefully they will be in real life too. Because I would love to see some.
I think there's a parallel there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I despise the good NFC.
6 points, Korean barbecue versus no barbecue.
Yeah.
And
Not even no barbecue, just good. Korean barbecue is solid.
Oh, but
all that
Philly
crap
barbecue.
Lubie likes, Memphis style, Kansas City style, just sugar on meat.
It's like ketchup.
Korean
he
barbecue
puts
is
ketchup
better
on
than
it. Yeah. That's number 2. What's tops the list?
Number 1, easy pick. Easy pick for barbecue. Not an easy pick of the game, but if we're doing the rankings that way, and that is, of course, Houston.
Yes.
The Texas barbecue plate cannot be topped. I don't care what anybody in the country does. Slather weird crap on it, put sweet sauce on it, whatever you Baltimore cheap version that you can do on a $3 grill. Nothing can top the Texas barbecue plate. You got the sausage, the brisket, the ribs, and all the perfect sides, because people do terrible sides with barbecue all over the country, but not Texas. Beans, rice, potato salad. You're good. That's all you need.
It's a beautiful thing.
Those are our
well
barbecue
presented,
rankings.
Professor. Very good job, as always. Appreciate you coming on here. I think I sent you the link for the other show. I don't know if you have it.
Earlier in the week.
You did.
Oh, very good. Okay, so we'll see you there, and if you can reprise this thing, I think it would be well worthwhile.
Okay, we will handicap based on that. We can do a little bit of a longer version. Again, sorry I'm showed up late here today, guys.
We appreciate it.
Blame Gonzaga.
Well, at least you won, so that's good.
Yeah, it's true. Go Bees.
That's all that matters.
We'll see you later, my friend.
All right, thanks a lot, the
Thanks,
Professor,
man.
ladies and gentlemen.
There you go.
All right, we're going to make our exit here. Lubie, we'll see you later on at the track. Maybe
Yes,
Tony
sir.
will be out there as well, and we'll see you guys next time as we leave you on that.
The time.
9:09.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my